Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Urban Garden 2020. So, today we're going to be planting some seeds. Actually, we're going to be starting some seeds in our seed starter kit. So, I wanted to show you what we've got back here, what we're going to do, and what we're planting. So, let's just pan around just a little bit in my garage. So, I keep my seeds in this little bin. It's just a little 3-tray storage bin. And what I've got, I've already set some things out. I've got them separated. I've got my peas and beans, some peppers here, some tomatoes. Up top, I've got some flowers, some sunflowers. We have our saw palmettos. We've got a variety, some okra, and some more beans, some squash, some things. So today we're going to be planting or starting some loofah sponge. We're also going to be doing some beans and some okra. I already have my peas in the ground. Like I told you guys, peas you can start early. So they're already in the starters and ready. They soaked in water for a little while. And here's what your typical pack of seeds looks like that you get from Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, your local garden store. And on the back, there are planting instructions. It has whatever zone you live in, and then it has your planting requirements, days to germination, the depth that it needs to be planted, spacing, and then it has your zones and days to harvest. So 58 days till you harvest, from planting, and then it has the dates you should be planting on the card here. So these beans say April to June. Well, we're here right at the end of February, beginning of March, and Alabama, last week, end of last week, beginning of the week before, whatever, beginning of last week, end of the week before, it was like in the 20s, teens some nights, very cold, highs right around freezing. This week, highs in the 80s, lows in the 60s and 70s. I mean, it's just a total flip-flop. So spring has come in full force. Everything I have outside is budded out. The yard is just sprouted out with all kinds of little clover petals, and everything in the yard is starting to sprout. So hopefully we don't have another freeze, but we're going to get these seeds started indoors just in case. But the temperature is coming up, and hopefully it kind of stays that way. Looks to be a very hot summer, so we'll see. But what I've done here is I've taken several of my seeds, and I just have a little cup of water here. Nothing in, just some basic water, and it was something I was actually had last video, and put my roots, had some of my starters in for my grafts, or not grafts, my cuttings, and so it's got a little bit of dirt from them. So in here I've got some beans, some loofah sponge, and some okra. So I can tell all those apart pretty well, so I felt comfortable in just chunking them in this one container. If you're not real comfortable, you can put them in individual containers and put a little garden flag on them and write on here with a Sharpie whatever you have in it. So you can put that in there, put it in on the side, and there you go. So what we have here are our peas. So we put them in the little peat pots, if you can see that. Camera's having a fun time focusing. And basically all I did was dampen some soil, made a little hole, put it in the pots. After I put it in, made a little hole with my little stick and dropped the peas in. And I soaked the peas in water also beforehand. And if you're planting them directly in the soil, that's fine. If you want to soak them for 24 hours before you put them in here in some kind of water peroxide solution or just water, that's fine. If you have some seeds that are notoriously difficult to germinate, you can use the paper towel method. I don't know if I know we did a video about that last year before I swapped everything over and started the new channel. So basically you just take a Ziploc bag and you put your seeds in it, fold it over, moisten it, put it into a Ziploc bag, paper towel, maybe I said that wrong. Take a paper towel, put a seed on it or your seeds, uh, fold it over, moisten it, spray bottle or just drop some water over with your fingers, whatever. You just don't want it, just drenched, but you want it nice and wet. And then you put it in a Ziploc bag, and you can put it in a cardboard box or put it in a cabinet or between two plates or something, and just to give it a dark space, and the seeds will germinate there. So I used that last year on some of our peppers and some of the tomato seeds just to see how it worked, and it worked very well. Like I had 100% germination rate, so that's really good. In the soil, we're going to see if we have the same success. So if not, it takes like a couple of days for most things to sprout in the paper towel, so you don't really lose much time doing that, but uh, hopefully we have the same success just putting directly in the peat pots in the soil. And if we do, we can forego the paper towel method. If not, next year or when we do the other things, I'll just go a day before we sow them into the peat pots or in the soil outside, and put them in the paper towel, let them sit and germinate there. So what I have here is this little seed starting kit I got at, I think, Lowe's, or I think it was Lowe's, maybe Home Depot. But anywho, it's just the Jiffy seed starting greenhouse kit. So you have a tray in the bottom, which is this black tray you see right here. You have the peat pots, and you also have this little pack of Super Thrive that came with it, and it says to mix this in a gallon of water. So what I did, usually I was disappointed that they did not have ingredients in this of what all is in the Super Thrive, and it's not on the container here or the packaging. So, but we're in luck because Super Thrive, I have Super Thrive. This is an older bottle, so it's pretty good, but it has all the ingredients of everything in it, and it has a little bit of nitrogen, and that's about it. It has a lot of other beneficial bacteria and microbes, I'm assuming from what it says. That's good for your plants. It helps them thrive, hence the name Super Thrive. All right, so I know what's in it. I've used it. I can't say whether it's like super or not, but I've used it and things have done well. I also took and I did put that in. I put half the amount. I didn't put the whole pack per gallon, so I just put the other half back in the little bottle. But I also use this Neptune's Harvest tomato and veg, and you see it's 242. So you've got your nitrogen, your phosphate, and your potassium, or potash is the K. So NPK 242. And this right here also has fish proteins, phosphoric acid as a stabilizer. It has seaweed. It also has yucca extract and some humic acid. So this right here is a really good organic fertilizer. I use it. I put a tablespoon of this in the gallon along with the half dose of Super Thrive. So hopefully that'll be good for the plants. So that's all I really add for seed starters. And I usually do half dose on the seeds just because you don't want to burn the roots as they're starting to grow. So what we've got here, again, we've got okra seeds, we have our beans, and we have the loofah sponge. So we'll start those. I've got 4 loofahs, 6 beans, and 10 to a dozen okra. So what I do is I'll let me pan this around again so you can see. I need a camera operator. If anyone wants to volunteer to come film and help me out, be welcome. So what we're going to do here is I just have my old wheelbarrow full of seeds, full of old soil that I've amended, and just take and fill it up. And these trays, there are 10 to a tray. So we're going to put our okra in first since we have 10 of those. And bada bing, bada bing, bada boom. I just fill them up, mostly full. It's more of an art than a science, even though there is science involved. I've known people that have, for some reason or another, followed the exact same planting instructions and just had devastating results. And some people just like throw some seeds in the ground and boom, they take off. So I don't know if there's a rhyme or reason to it. I know some people are horrible about remembering to water and things, so that does have a great effect on how well your plants do. So we'll just pan around again a little bit to the table. And here we go. So our okra. Read the instructions. It says planting depth 3/4 of an inch. Should be pretty easy to do. So I take my handy dandy little stick here and I just make some little holes. I'm gonna guess at 3/4, maybe that's an inch, 3/4. A little difficult to tell such small amount, but it doesn't have to be super precise. You just don't want the seeds buried way down deep. You don't want to make a 2 or 3 inch hole and the seeds never come up. And you dig them up and there's nothing there because the root sprouted. It germinated deep in the hole, but nothing ever came up because it couldn't get to the light soon enough and the seed died. So usually that's not the case, but it does happen. Alright, so we have 10 holes there, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour this out in this seed tray. And I've got my peas there because I'm going to put some water in this later. And there we go. So I've got my okra, and I'm just going to put one and just tap down around it. 2. And you can put more than one seed per hole. Some people plant multiple seeds per hole just so they have an increased chance of success. So I'll put 2 in a couple of them. I think I have a little more than 10 here, and we'll see what we get. Now, I've heard before people say, if you're going 1/4 of an inch, that's about your thumbnail or fingernail. 1/2 inch your thumbnail, so 1/4, 1/2. 3/4 probably be about 1/3 of your thumb maybe, so just about that far. I don't have super long fingers, so just a guesstimation again. So yeah, we're gonna put 2 per, because I thought I counted 10 out, but looks like I put a lot more than 10 in here. So go 1, there we go, and 2, and 3, and let's see, 4, and 5. Hope that one stuck to my finger. So if it will get in your home. And one last one, boom. So I don't think my holes were quite 3/4 of an inch, whatever it called for. So luckily we have soil here. We can just go and put a little bit back over it, and there we go. So we'll just kind of smooth it over. I don't want to tamp it down real hard or anything. So got our seeds in the peat pots, and I will just take our handy dandy Sharpie and one of these garden flags, and it came with these. These came with whatever we were using last year. Oh, the larger peat pots, and I cut these in half just so I'd have more. But so I'll use one of these, and this is okra. I really like okra. Not really boiled okra, but you can fry it. You can cut it up, chop it up, and you can bread it and fry it. You can fry it. You can bake it. You can put it in the dehumidifier or the dehydrator and have little okra chips. I know that's kind of popular. So all this is going to be okra, and there's that. So then we have our 1, 2, 3, 4 loofahs and 2 4, 6. So we have 10 more. Again, a good nice round number 10. Maybe that's where I got 10 from, and I had 12 or 14 of the okra. I'm not real sure about that, but in any event, it's a nice round number, so we'll go with it. So that, again, have to pan around. Excuse me for having to go back and forth. But doing this by myself. Again, any volunteers to come help me film, I have a video project I'm working on. So any of you guys want to come and help me record and edit and all that, feel free to leave a comment, message me if you're on Snapchat or Instagram and you see this. So, but you probably won't see it on Instagram because they won't let me post longer videos, I don't think. Can't remember. But anywho, so again, in our soil mix here, I know we've talked about this in previous videos. It's basically just old garden soil, or our planting soil that we've taken out of planters and put in this wheelbarrow, and we've amended with coffee grounds and eggshell and some other fish amendments like let's see, what all did we put in here? The shrimp tails and shrimp peels, some the crab shells from the stuffed crab, ground eggshells, a lot of things. So here's what we will do. I'm going to take this and I've got a knife here. Scissors would work also. I love this retractable. Very good. So I'm going to cut my 4 away from the others, and I don't know what I'm doing here, so actually I'm supposed to know what I'm doing. So, but here we go. I'm just going to cut these 4 away from the other 6, and this razor is pretty sharp, so not having any trouble. Just going slow, make sure we don't have any slips and cut our hands. You know, safety first, retract the blade, put it down. Okay, so let's take out our pack of loofah. Let's see, where did we put him? Yeah, I have these organized by what type, and here we go. So also we have in here some crepe myrtle seeds. We have some purple pampas grass, 2 packs of it, and we have some coreopsis, which is moonbeam, and it's mixed. So we have some flowers here to put out, and the sunflowers. So we'll do those later, but our loofah, okay, our planting instructions, 7 to 10 days, plant it just a little deeper at 1 inch. You space it 12 inches apart, which we'll space it when we put it outside in our raised bed. And so look this over, about the same soil temperature requirements. The other said 68 to 75, this says 70 to 85. So by the time we get the seeds started, hopefully early spring and all, the weather's rocking and rolling for us. So we're going to take the 4. Again, I'm going to guesstimate about 1 inch down. Just a little deeper in our hole. That's what she said. And okay, so there we go. We got 4. We take our 4 seeds, and we got a pack of these loofah seeds. Let's just put 1, 2, 3, and 4. Some of them kind of caught on the edge, so I'll just take this. Won't hurt a thing to just tamp it down to the bottom of the hole. And there we go. And there we go. And there. So boom. Let's see, throw that little stick out. Alright. So we've got our loofah. And we'll just mark it on our little garden flag. So L U F F A, loofah. So the loofah sponge is pretty nice because it can be made into actual sponge. You know, you can cut it. It comes in. It's like a large zucchini or squash or cucumber, but it's like a sponge-like material. And you take it, you cut it and let it dry, and then you cut it up, and it's a spongy-like material to absorb water. And it's just a natural sponge, so you can use it in the kitchen. You can use it in the shower. You know, you can use it. It's a little more coarse sponge than your real soft, spongy sponges that you get at like Walmart. But unless you buy a loofah sponge or a coral sponge, whatever it is. But you know, it is fairly coarse, so you can use it to exfoliate your skin. It's really good for that, and it's natural. So there we go. So we've got our loofahs here, and then lastly, now we have our beans. So there's our okra, there's our loofah sponge. The loofah is a gourd, so we put it down here with the melons. Here are our beans up here with the peas and carrots and things. So the beans say, and I'll put the okra here. I'm going to put the okra and beans and stuff in the top. So, oh no, some of the okra spilled out. Clumsy me. I left the top of the pack. Yeah, I left it open saying, well, I'll just be careful, but you can take a paper clip or you can tape it shut, you know, because unless you have a really large space, you know, here I could make up to an acre, or I think we've got an acre or so in the back. Half of that is yard and half of that is not yard, leaves and stuff and weeds that grow. So we're going to take that half acre and we're going to do our raised bed over there. We're going to put our fruit trees on that side. We're also going to put our beehives over there, which should be coming in very soon. I'm excited about the beehives. I've got them pretty much done. As you can see here, there's one of the frames setting up here where I painted it and it dried and it's just waiting. I haven't done much more to it, unfortunately. So we go back to our beans. So beans, about the same temperature requirements. You want your soil, well, I thought it said on there. Anyway, 6 to 8 days to germinate, so it's going to germinate pretty quick. Planting depth, 1 inch to 1.5 inches, and 62 days to harvest. And your spring rows, you want them spaced 20 inches. So, you know, it says to plant here in April to July. So, yeah, by the time we get, it's right at the tail end of February, beginning of March. So by the time we get through March, get them germinated well and up, it'll be perfect time to put them in the ground. So here we go. I'm going to give this an extra fold. And there we go. So here we go again. Hope y'all see this, can see this well. So we have 6 beans here. And there's plenty of them. So we'll probably come back and just do some direct sows also. But this is just for our small raised bed area. And you know, again, about 1.5 inches, 1 inch to 1.5 inches, so not too dissimilar from the loofah. There we go. All right. So we take these 6 little bad dudes here, or girls, whichever the case may be, and we put them in the hole. And these are just pole beans. I thought I got bush beans. They're supposed to be a little more compact and squat for our raised bed, but I didn't, so I'm going to build like a little trellis thing around it. I'm going to put some poles on each corner and string of some type around the edges and across in layers as we go, so the beans can grow up on, the tomato plants can be supported and whatnot. So I take our little handy dandy stick again. And again, this was just a skewer. You know, if you want to go outside and get a stick, if you want to take your finger and push it down, it really does not matter that much. So, there we go. And again, that may not be quite 1.5 inches, so I'll just take a little bit of dirt, soil, and you know, our soil has been amended with many things, you know, coffee grounds. I spray it every once in a while just to keep the moisture up in it. I add, you know, a tablespoon of this Neptune's Harvest. I'll also sometimes put some other organic fertilizer that I have, the, Miracle Grow Organics. I'll just put a little, small little spoonful of that. It comes with a little plastic spoon. big spoon on one side, small spoon on the other. I just put that little small spoon in a gallon, and we've been adding a quarter teaspoon of the Super Thrive. So just to give something to the soil. Oh, and I saw another video from a different gardener somewhere, and they were adding molasses or honey to their water, and it kind of feeds the microbes in the soil, and the microbes break down the nutrients and the plant takes up the nutrients. So as the microbes are breaking it down, it makes it to where the plants can absorb those nutrients from the soil. So these are beans. If I'm not careful, I'll start writing down what I'm saying, and then I'll have this little thing full and I won't know what's in it. So there we go. So, but again, I was back to the molasses or honey, and they were using non-sulfur molasses. I don't think it's going to make a difference with what we plant, but some plants are very sensitive to the nutrients and what you put into them. Most things, as long as you're not putting anything harmful in, most of your garden vegetables and fruits are going to be fine. So but they did say that the carbohydrates from the sugars in the molasses or honey, and hopefully we'll have honey to add. I got a little thing of I think it's like a quart or a pint of the molasses. So you put just like a tablespoon in a gallon of water, and it feeds the microbes and things that are in the soil. So they live off those carbs, and they break down a lot of the other nutrients in there and make it readily available for the plant to take up. So I'm experimenting with my vegetables and stuff here, and I put it in the feed where I fed my peppers and fruit trees and ferns outside. So if you notice, the garage there's a little more open space back here, just some ferns down low, but it's because I moved stuff outside because the weather's warm, yes, and hopefully not freezing again. But okay, so back to this. So what I'm going to do, take our little bit of I think there was a little molasses, our little bit of Neptune's Harvest, and a little bit of Super Thrive. And I had a gallon jug somewhere, and I just make sure that's tight. I put a half dose in the gallon and then poured that in here. And actually I didn't even fill this up, and I topped it off, so it's even less than half strength. So just turn it to a very fine mist, and I just mist over these. Even though I kind of pre-moisten the soil before I put it in, just having it out in these, the peat pots do dry out pretty quick. So I can already tell just that quickly that the soil is drier than it was in the big bin over here. And I do have a 55-gallon drum in my car. I forgot about it. Thankfully I remembered when I said that. To cut in half, and I'm going to make one a compost bin and the other just another soil amending bin, because the wheelbarrow here is a little bit clumsy and in my way, and it just takes up a lot of space, and I'm going to try to move it. If I take that dirt out, I'm going to try to put it in the shed out back, and there isn't any lighting in there. Maybe I can add some kind of solar lights to out there, or just run an extension cord or something, but so I'm just spraying this on that really light mist setting, just getting it really damp. Remember, with the peat pots, you don't want them to dry out. You don't want your seedlings to dry out just as they're starting roots and coming up, because if they dry out in that phase, they're probably dead. They're very sensitive, and it won't take much to kill them. So the peas are a little better off, but as far as being cold tolerant, but they all are susceptible to drying out. And if they're not getting enough water, they also will. It's called damping off. It's where your stem actually just collapses, and the top of the plant may look all right, and then it just fall over, and you see there are fresh leaves on top, probably still green, and then there's a little collapse spot in the stem where it looks like it just broke down and collapsed and fell over, and in most cases your seedling is dead. So I haven't had that but I've seen it on several videos where I've been following, just trying to make sure our techniques are good and we're doing what we're supposed to be successful, and passing it along to you guys. Because that's what farming and pretty much any DIY things you do around the house, most of it's already been done. There's been a lot of trial and error gone into it, and watching videos like these and the videos that I watch and the information I get, pass it along to you guys, and it just helps us all be a little more successful. So we see where other people had made mistakes and lost some plants or lost a harvest of vegetables or fruits or whatnot, and we know, hey, that might be a good thing not to do if they made a mistake, and they tell you about it. So most everything you see online has been tried before, probably long before YouTube ever came along. And there are some modern DIY projects that obviously couldn't have been done too long ago, but in general, most everything you have has been tried, and there's a tried and true method. Now, not to say there aren't any better ways to do it, and innovation is the key to success in the future. You get better at things and you become more successful, and you make more with less, and that's what it's about. So again, just like our garden flags, we'll take them, I took them out of the pepper plants, we repotted and reuse those markers. So recycle, reuse when you can. Thing I like about these peat pots, we can take them once they sprout out well and just go straight into the ground. Now I'm going to I've got the soil pretty wet, the peat pots are pretty well soaked, and so what I'm going to do is just take the rest of this and just let it cool in the bottom of the little seed tray here. So that way, there's water there for it to feed up. So the top may dry out just a little bit, which is fine. Just down below where your roots are, I don't want them just sitting in a giant puddle of water, so I'm not gonna add any more than what's left in this spray bottle. But what we'll do, we'll fill this up, and that's how I'll water them going forward. I may just give a light mist to the top with probably just a regular pump sprayer, but I'll try to water from the bottom and let that moisture come up to the roots that way. And there we go. So I'm gonna cheat actually and unscrew this because it's taking a while. And yeah, I can see it's still absorbing up because the water I poured in was rising and now it's gone back down. And boom. Okay, yeah, that's filtering over to that side. So we have our seed tray, and I'll come back later and probably add a few more things to this as I go. Some of our other tomatoes, peppers, things like that. My peppers I'll put in a little bit later. My tomatoes I'll probably go with next, then do the peppers, and then your squash and watermelon, and things that really like heat. So they will your squash and your watermelon and your eggplant. Oh, I forgot to get eggplant because I don't think I have any. But yeah, you can put those in the ground, and they love the heat, they love a lot of sun, and you just want to wait to put them in, because if it does turn back cool, I don't want them getting killed off and all that effort just gone. So what we'll do, just move this around. Oh yeah, there's some nice little puddle of water, and then we've got our lid. We also have a couple of more trays to fill up, which we can do. It also our other seed tray came with this right here with the plastic starters versus the peat pots. And this is nice because you can reuse them. You can just push, they have little holes here in the bottom you can see, and you can just take either your finger or you probably take something about the size of a crayon or pencil and push through to pop out your seedling when it comes out that way. So I've put my tomatoes in. I'll probably put them in this, maybe, because hopefully we're going to do a lot of those. We'll see. But we've got this seed tray, but what we do is we just take this little clear top, and it's like the greenhouse effect. We'll put it over it, and it just kind of, just snaps down over, and it holds in a lot of that moisture. And we'll take this and set it over by the door and the glass door out front, or well, it's in the back of the house actually. And we'll go in, and if you remember last video, if you watched, if you didn't, go back and rewatch. And remember also to like, subscribe to the channel so you can keep getting, stay tuned to our updates on all this stuff going on. And here we go. So if you look here, we have our blueberry cuttings, the honeysuckle cuttings, and the fig cuttings. So the blueberries are actually kind of starting to put out their buds, just, you know, popping out. If you can see right there, I don't know if the camera's going to focus or not, but you can see that it started to bud out little green and buds. So I think it's going to do fine. The honeysuckle is okay. The leaves are wilted back a little bit, but you know, we'll see. And then over in the other container, our saw palmetto is in the empty looking planting peat pots, and then the one fig in the center. So the saw palmetto, probably in about 10 weeks, hopefully we'll get some little sprouts popping up. But the way these blueberries look right there, if you can see it, does it focus? It tries to. Anywho, and then our fig cuttings here, kind of see them. Hopefully, looks like they're sprouting on the top. And yep, so we put those in here. I had them covered up with like a big plastic bag to kind of hold some humidity in, but I was just worried about they're getting too much humidity and it kind of starting to rot the leaves. So anywho, I took those off and we've got it here. And what I'm doing is I'm just turning it a quarter every day. That way each day, you know, it's getting sun from a different side and it's warming the soil in the container. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch the previous video. So here we are. It is February 27th, 2021. And you're on the Urban Garden 2020 channel. I'm Jamie. Thank you for watching and have a great day. Keep on keeping on and dig it. All right, guys, be safe.